Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel MCC Designz. Today we're going to be going over how to make this super pretty sunburst granny square. I like to make it look a bit like a sunflower with these color choices here, and we're going to go through all the steps on every row and how to weave in your ends and change colors and everything like that. This pattern is available for free on my blog. There are tons of different versions of this particular granny square out there. This is the way that I prefer to do it, so let's get started with what materials you'll need for the square. So today I am using Dishy cotton yarn from Crochet. It is by far my favorite cotton yarn that I have tried. Super soft, really great for bags and things like that if you're wanting to make your square into something like that, but really any worsted weight yarn. Any weight yarn is fine. The pattern that I have made here calls for worsted weight yarn, a 5mm crochet hook. I'm using the tulip hooks today, a yarn needle, or just use your hook to weave in your ends, and some scissors for finishing up. So let's get started with the full tutorial. So to start with, I'm going to be using a lighter brown than I just showed, just to make it easier to see that center area. We're just going to start with a magic circle, magic loop, whatever you prefer to call it. And this is the way that I have always done it. I found that it works best for me, but feel free to do a chain 4 instead, or whatever version of the magic circle you prefer. So the way I do it is I wrap the yarn around my finger, kind of like in this sort of formation. I like to do 1 wrap, then 2 wraps, and just hold that yarn down here. So I have kind of 3 wrappings, it looks like, on my fingers here. And then what I like to do is I lay my hook right here between my fingers, and I slide it under those first 2 to grab the 3rd that's still attached to the whole ball of yarn. And I just pull that under those 2 strands, just like that, and slip it off my hand. And then I have my circle here. And it can be a little tedious and fiddly to get this down, but what I like to do to secure it is go ahead and do a chain stitch right there, and following the pattern we'll do 2 more chain stitches. And that'll count as our first double crochet for this magic circle. And now we're going to proceed and do 15 more double crochets around the circle until we get back to the beginning. And if you're not familiar with the double crochet, I'll go ahead and go through that now. If you are, feel free to skip to the next step. For the double crochet, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook in that center of your circle that you just made, yarn over again, so you'll have, and pull, yarn over again and pull up a loop, and now you have 3 stitches on your hook. You're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through the first 2 stitches, the first 2 loops, and now you have 2 loops left, so you're going to yarn over again and pull through those last 2. So that is a double crochet, and we're going to do 14 more of those now. So that's yarning over, insert your hook into that center of the circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2, just like that. So you're going to repeat that step all the way around until you have a total of 15 double crochets, and then this chain 3 at the beginning. So now I have done all of the stitches in my magic circle, and I'm just going to pull this strand here to tighten it all up. And it might take a little bit of force depending on your method of tightening. And there we go, that circle is closed. So now I'm going to slip stitch into this first stitch on the other side. So I'm going to insert my hook through that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull through that first loop on my hook. And to finish off this color, I'm going to chain 1. If you're not changing color, just skip this step and continue to the next. And I'm going to cut the yarn and then use my hook and just pull it all the way through and pull it to tighten it. And there is our center for our granny square. Next, I'm going to add my golden color for the sunflower petals. And this is the way that I prefer to change color in all my projects. If you don't like this way, that's perfectly okay, and feel free to do any color joining method that you prefer. So what I'm going to do, insert my hook between any of these posts here in between these double crochets. I don't like working into this stitch here because I just feel like it gets too tight for the stitches. So I'm going to pick any one, and I'm just going to insert my hook between those. And I like to just make kind of a loop with the yarn and grab it with my hook and then pull that loop through the stitch, just like so. So as if I'm pulling up a loop from the same color of yarn. And then I don't do anything with this tail, I just kind of let it fall and I chain 1 to lock it all together. And so that is attached, and that's how I always join my yarn. I've not had a problem with it coming unraveled, but again, whichever method of color changing you prefer is perfectly fine and will work for this project. So, and this row is made up of cluster stitches, so that starts with a chain 2, and we're going to be working into this same opening here that we started in. So the goal is to get 7 loops on our hook in order to complete the puff stitch for this pattern. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into that opening, yarn over again and pull up a loop. So now I have 3. I'm going to repeat that until I get 7. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and that's 5. And then one more time, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and that is all 7 that I need. So now to lock in that puff stitch, I'm going to yarn over again, and I'm going to pull through all 7 of those stitches. This part can be a bit fiddly depending on your tension, but just go through all 7, and then you're going to chain 1 to complete that puff stitch and lock those stitches in. So that is your first puff stitch there. And next we're going to go right next door to the next opening between the stitches, and we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that opening, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again, insert into that opening, yarn over, pull up a loop, and one more time, yarn over, insert into the opening, yarn over, pull up a loop. So now you have 7 once again on your hook. You're going to yarn over and finish off those 7 stitches and chain 1. And that is what you will repeat all the way around the circle. You're going to have a total of 16 puff stitches by the end, and I will meet you back here 16 puff stitches by the end in each of those spaces, and it can get a bit tight and wonky, but just trust the process and make sure you have 16 by the end of it. So we're back to the beginning, and you can see how it's kind of folding in on itself, so don't worry if that's happening. The next row will help straighten that out. And I have 1 stitch left to go right here in between these 2. So I'm going to finish that one up. So it's yarning over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over again, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert the hook, and pull up a loop. And there we have 7. So I'm going to complete all 7 of those loops off the hook, just like so, chain 1. And then that is all 16 completed. So now we're going to join in the top of this first cluster, and I like to join in this stitch rather than in the chain stitches just because I think it makes it look better at the end. So I'm going to do that. So just insert your hook under both of those bars of that stitch, yarn over and pull through that stitch and pull through the loop on your hook. Going to chain 1 and cut my yarn again. Again, if you're doing the same color, just continue to the next step. I'm going to cut that and pull that yarn through and tighten it down. I am working over my ends a little bit, but I will be showing you how to weave them in at the end. I like to do that, or you can weave them in as you go, whichever method you prefer. Next up, I'm going to be joining in the white yarn to start the cluster stitches. So I'm going to do the same color join as before, where I just insert my hook into one of those chain gaps that we created in that previous row. And I'm going to make a loop with my yarn and use my hook to just pull it up. And for this row, we are chaining 3. 1, 2, and 3 there, and it is still in that gap. Continue our cluster stitch. We're going to yarn over and insert our hook into that opening there, yarn over again, pull up a loop, and we're going to do half of a double crochet. So that's yarning over, pulling through 2 loops, but we're going to leave these 2 and we're going to go and we're going to continue. So yarn over, insert your hook through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then you're going to do those first 2 stitches once again. So yarn over and pull through those first 2 stitches. So now you have 3 left on your hook here. We're going to do 1 more in this opening. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through those first 2 loops. So the goal is to get 5 loops on your hook. I have 1 more. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So now you have 5 loops live on your hook. So you're going to yarn over and pull through all 5 for that next step, and then chain 1 to lock it into place. Very similar to the puff stitch in that way, but we're just adding that extra step of doing half of the double crochets. And you're going to repeat that in this next gap here. So that's yarning over, inserting your hook into that gap, yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the gap, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, finish, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So now you have 4 stitches on your hook, or you have 4 loops on your hook, so now you're going to do 1 more. Yarn over, insert your hook into the gap, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, and pull through 2. Now you have 5, so you're going to yarn over and pull through all 5 and chain 1 to lock it into place. So you're going to complete that same step all the way around, and again you want to have 13 clusters by the time you're done, and then we'll join it together. Finished my last cluster stitch here, so now we're going to join into the top of our first cluster stitch in the same manner as before. So the slip stitch, yarn over, pull your loop through that stitch, and pull your loop through the first loop on the hook. And then chain 1, cut the yarn, and pull all the way through. So that is the center of our square, and now we're going to do the portion of the pattern that makes it into a square shape. So again, I'm going to join my yarn in the same manner as before, just picking whichever one I want to start in, and grabbing my yarn in a loop, pulling that loop through, and chaining 1 to secure it. Chaining 1 to secure it. So now we're going to do a second chain, and we're going to complete 2 half double crochets in this same stitch. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook through that opening, yarn over, pull up a loop. We have 3 stitches on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 for the half double crochet. And again, I'm just working over my tail here, yarning over for that second half double crochet, inserting your hook, yarning over, pulling up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So that chain 2 space is acting as a half double crochet as well. So this is 3 half double crochets. So we can think of this as 3 half double crochets in this stitch. In our next stitch, we're going to do 3 double crochets. So that's yarning over, insert your hook into that opening, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops, just like that. And another one, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through those last 2. And 1 more in the space, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops. So this having the different heights and stitches helps to give it that square edge. So now in this next space, we're going to be making the corner of the square, and we're going to be doing treble crochets. To do a treble crochet, you're going to yarn over twice, and then you're going to insert your hook into your stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2 again. So that is a treble crochet. You can see how it almost looks like 2 double crochets stacked on top of each other. So that is what we're going to do for our corner spaces. So yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through those last 2. And go again, yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over 1, pull, yarn over, pull through, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and 2 again. And that is your completed little grouping of 3 treble crochets. So now I'm going to chain 1 for that corner space and do 3 more in that same area. So yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through those last 2. And again, yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and 2 again. One more for this corner space. Yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is your corner space complete. So you can kind of see how these stitches act to get that straight edge there for the granny square to go from this circular shape to the square. So then next we're going to mirror this on each side. So we're going to do 3 double crochets in this next space. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. So we do the rest of the double crochets, so that's 3 in total in this space. And then we're going to switch back to the half double crochets in the next one. It's yarning over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And we're going to do that twice more, so yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And one more time, and then we're going to continue this pattern. So on the next set, we're going to do another 3 double crochets and then the treble crochet corner. And this is the full repeat for this pattern. So just 3 double crochets here, and then we'll do another treble crochet corner together before going to the end. Okay, so just to do the treble crochets again, we're going to yarn over twice, inserting our hook, yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And again, yarn over twice, insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And a third one, yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then that chain 1 space. If you find that your chain ones aren't super loose and you're not getting a nice corner, feel free to chain more. My preferred method for granny squares is to do just 1 chain in the corner and no change throughout the border. I'm going to finish up this corner with 3 more treble crochets. So yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And then 1 more for this corner here, and that will do it for a full complete side. So you're going to keep doing that as the pattern says all the way around back to here. So you're going to do the treble corner, double crochet, half double, double, treble corner. And all of that can be found for free in the pattern as well if you need something to follow along with that, or just replay the steps that I just went over and I'll meet you at the end. So here I am at the end of the square, so I'm going to slip stitch into the top of this first set of half double crochets here, just like so, slip stitching, and then I'm going to cut my yarn for the final time. pulling that through. And here is my finished square. So now what I'm going to do is weave in some of these ends. I'm going to weave in this one, and you can do whatever practice you prefer for weaving in the ends, of course. So I'm going to show you the way that I do it, and the way that I prefer is to use a yarn needle. You can use a crochet hook if you don't have a yarn needle. It will just probably be a little more difficult, but I like to flip it to the back so that even if anything pops through, it's not going to be very noticeable from the front. So I just like to kind of go through the initial stitch and pull that yarn down just so it makes kind of a flatter edge there. And then continue working the yarn into the same color. So I'm just going to wind it through right here. And for this project that I'm working on, I don't mind if I see like this here where it's kind of feeding through the back. So I'm just going to go in there, and then I like to go in 3 different directions so that it has the least amount of chance of coming out. So I'm just going to go back through there, and then I'm going to go back in this direction again, but just skipping that first stitch so it locks together. And again, feel free to use whatever method you prefer, whatever techniques. So there are definitely many different ones about how different people prefer to weave their ends in. So for me, that is good to go. I feel good about that. So I'm going to cut that there. That is how I will do all of my ends for the rest of the square as well. But yes, that is the completed square. And with this cotton yarn, it's not as squared off as it could be with an acrylic yarn. So with this, I might suggest blocking it to get more of that square shape, but there are still distinctly, corners for this. Let me know if you enjoyed this tutorial and if you found it helpful. I really enjoyed sharing this with you, and remember, the free pattern is on my blog at mccdesignz.com. You can find me on all social media platforms at that same handle, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me.